on C-SPAN 2. Now, the State of the State address from Kansas. Republican Governor Bill Graves delivered his speech in front of the state legislature in Topeka last month. It runs about 20 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's probably enough. Thank you very much for that gracious reception. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, Madam Chief Justice, members of the legislature, and fellow Kansans, I want to begin on both a sad note and a happy note. A sad note in acknowledging the death of Representative Annie Keither's husband, John. I know that all of our thoughts and prayers are with Representative Keither tonight. And a happy note for me in acknowledging the presence of my mother and father, who I'm very proud to have here tonight. We are gathered this evening in the exquisitely restored chamber of the House of Representatives. My compliments to the artists and the workers who made this possible. And on behalf of the people of Kansas, I want to express my appreciation to the Kansas legislature for their vision and commitment to the restoration of this significant piece of Kansas history. It is a great pleasure to join you for the 5th time to present the State of the State message. I am honored and humbled by the opportunity to lead Kansas into a new century, an opportunity afforded to a governor only once before, in 1899, to Governor William E. Stanley. In Governor Stanley's message to the legislature that year, he declared, "Kansas enters upon the 39th year of its existence under most favorable auspices." 100 years later, I am pleased to report that Kansas enters its 139th year under very favorable conditions. A strong economy, sound investments in public education, safety, and quality of life have prepared Kansas well for 1999. In spite of our strength, there are troubled areas, and all Kansans should be concerned with the plight of the men and women in the agriculture and the oil sectors of the economy. Kansas farmers and stockmen are the best in the world, yet their reward has been the collapse of value of their products in the marketplace. The Kansas oil industry has been devastated. Our national policy regarding energy is both disastrous and dangerous. Foreign and national policies significantly impact these two areas and make state policy less significant. Nevertheless, we must do what we can and be sensitive to these needs as we make public policy. Even with these problems, Kansas is strong. We are a growing state, not a stagnant one. Our 1.1% growth in population from July of 1997 to July of 1998 was the highest in 37 years, and Kansas ranked first in the 12-state Midwest region. I believe good public policy, excellent private sector performance, and the outstanding efforts of the working men and women of Kansas have made our success possible. We have an obligation to continue good public policy that will support and enhance the growth of Kansas. Tonight, I will share proposals I believe can contribute to the strength and future of our state. As is traditional, I present to you my budget, a budget that will take us into the next century. The increase in spending from the State General Fund is 2.6%, which matches the forecasted inflation rate. As in my past budgets, you will find the allocation of resources to be balanced, reasonable, and responsible. This is the 5th consecutive year in which I am recommending tax cuts for the people of Kansas. But doing so while still committed to adequately funding all aspects of state government. While I won't review all of my proposals to cut taxes, I promise the people of Kansas an end to the property taxes they pay every year on cars and trucks when they register their vehicles. Eliminating the tax on cars was not just a campaign promise, it is a priority. If the legislature agrees with my proposal, Kansans will no longer pay this burdensome tax. Many have speculated with my election to my final term as governor that my commitment to the people of the state to reduce their tax burden will wane. It must not, it cannot, it will not. Taxes are too high, and we must work to continue reducing them. While there will be significant issues to address this session, including a new transportation plan and the restructuring of higher education, tonight I would like to depart from the tradition of reviewing multiple policy and budget initiatives. We have the responsibility of constructing the budget that takes Kansas into the next century. Tonight, I would like to focus on the most important investments in my budget. There is no greater way to ensure the success of Kansas tomorrow than by ensuring the success of our children today. For the next 4 years, there will be no greater emphasis, no greater focus, no greater priority than the one we place on our children. As I mentioned in my inaugural message, there is a significant difference between the Bill Graves who presented the state of the state in 1995 and the Bill Graves of today. And that difference in one word is Katie, my 3-year-old daughter and the joy of my life. Today, as a parent, I better understand how important the issues of health, safety, education, and a loving environment are to our kids. While we cannot build programs that guarantee perfection, we can build a system that provides greater opportunity for the children of Kansas. A system focused on health, education, and supportive and collaborative programs. My message tonight will address some of our proposed investments in those areas. In the area of health, we must continue our commitment to provide health insurance to those children who are not covered. Last year, together, we created the Kansas Health Wave program and are in the process of enrolling the more than 60,000 children who lack this essential health insurance coverage. This budget includes more than $12 million of state money, which will match federal funding of $30 million to ensure our commitment is continued. Other programs, while not as large, are important and deserve enhancements. As an example, I am recommending additional funding to expand Telekid Care. This program at the University of Kansas Medical Center was the first established in the nation. It allows doctors at the hospital to provide top-flight care to children at school through interactive video. The success of this program has been proven at 4 elementary schools in Wyandotte County. Additional funding will allow the service to expand to schools in 10 rural communities statewide. The newborn screening program promotes early identification of serious medical conditions that may respond to early treatment, thus better protecting the newborn infant. The current test methods utilized by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment were devised some 30 years ago, have an unacceptably high margin of error, and have not been modernized. My funding recommendation of $260,000 will make Kansas newborn screening capability state-of-the-art. Physical health is only part of the health needs of our children. Mental health is also critical. I am proposing a $1 million enhancement to expand community-based mental health services for children with severe emotional disturbances. This will provide service to hundreds of additional children and will provide total funding of $8 million. These are but a few of the programs and funding that I will recommend to improve physical and mental health care for our children. In the area of education, the education of our children continues to be the first priority of Kansans. Education opens the door to their future. For some, it is where dreams are given a chance to become reality. Unfortunately, for some, it is the only safe harbor from the grim reality in which they live. For all, education is a critical component in determining their future, and I am determined to continue providing enhanced resources to our system of education. My budget recommends more than $87 million new dollars for K through 12 education. This includes additional dollars for each child in each classroom, continues our efforts to make the funding formula equitable for all school districts, and meets the increased cost for special education. Also included in this amount is an additional $4.1 million to support extra assistance for the 100,000 children who, for a variety of reasons, do not have the same chance at success as other students. These are children most at risk. This nearly doubles the state funding to at-risk children since the beginning of my administration. One lesson we have learned is that the earlier we prepare children to learn, the greater their chance for success. Therefore, I am recommending increased funding of $1 million for at-risk 4-year-olds. With my recommendation, we will serve 33% more of these children, enabling them to receive advanced preparation before beginning school. The budget attempts to better recognize the instrumental role teachers play in our children's educational success. I have included money for scholarships for 65 teachers to achieve National Board Certification, which recognizes teaching excellence. Funds are also recommended for bonuses for teachers who successfully complete certification. It is my hope this heightens the interest in and rewards teaching excellence. We must not forget, however, that parents are a child's first teacher, and it is important we assist them to be the best teachers they can be. More parental involvement in our children's education is an important goal, and I am recommending an increase of nearly $800,000 for the Parents as Teachers program. The success of this program is well documented, and this additional funding will increase dramatically the number of families served. These education programs that focus on early preparation and prevention, family involvement, and children most at risk must be supported and enhanced. Often, a state's best role is that of support and collaboration. In fact, the state cannot and should not provide all the resources necessary for our children to succeed. There are many examples where local government and not-for-profit initiatives have achieved significant success. The state should be a strong partner in these efforts. A good example is our partnership with counties to provide the Healthy Start program. My recommended enhancement of $1 million will increase by 20,000 the number of families served by Kansas counties through the Healthy Start program. The Infants and Toddlers program involves more than 30 interagency networks throughout Kansas and uses private and public funds. The focus of the program is the promotion of policies and procedures to identify infants and toddlers with developmental delays and to provide early intervention. My recommendation of $250,000 will bring our 2-year enhancement for this program to $1.75 million. I would like to address the issue of juvenile justice. Kansas communities and the Juvenile Justice Authority are working together. To support their efforts, I am recommending more than $40 million for local communities. Included in this amount is an increase of $3 million for enhanced community services. In addition, our partnership will be strengthened with my proposal of $4 million in increased funding for programs that focus on delinquency prevention. These programs include counseling, mentoring, and intervention for academic and behavioral problems. This total enhancement of $7 million can make a significant difference in the troubled lives of our youth. The best juvenile justice program is the prevention of juvenile delinquency. Often, not-for-profit organizations have both the knowledge and the compassion to develop innovative programs. My budget creates an innovative child health grant program administered by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment that will make $460,000 available to not-for-profit health agencies desiring to enhance basic health care services for children. Partner, support, and collaborate is how we maximize both resources and results. These are but a few of the programs that comprise our children's segment of the budget. Overall, we will invest more than $2.5 billion of state funds and $3.2 billion from all funding sources in our support of children. Since the passage of the fiscal year 1999 budget, the commitment of this administration to financially enhance programs for children with the presentation of this budget is nearly $170 million. The state can never serve as a substitute for the love of a parent or the inspiration of a good teacher, but we can and must create opportunity for our children and support those people, policies, and programs that make a difference in their lives. The success of our future will be found in the strength of our commitment to the children and youth of Kansas. Even with the dollars and programs I am proposing, I believe there is something of even greater value we can give future generations. We can provide the example of what we want our children to be. Yesterday in my inaugural address, I quoted the poet Edgar Masters when he wrote, "I would rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I would rather someone walk with me than merely point the way." Our children and youth don't want our preaching, they want our teaching by example. As elected and public officials, we have an obligation to set that example. If we cannot conduct the business of the state with civility, how can we ask our children to be civil? If we are not truthful with each other, how can we tell our children that honesty is the best policy? If we are intolerant of others' ideas, how can we encourage our children to think and to dream? If we mistreat each other, how can we ask our children to follow the golden rule? We look to Washington and we see a city in anguish. Let us conduct the state of this state so that Washington can look to Kansas and see a positive example. Now more than ever, we need to reinforce positive values in the deliberations of public policy, values that built this great state: integrity, compassion, tolerance, and civility. It is not my intent to merely point the way. I intend to walk with you in making the people of Kansas proud. Proud not only of what we achieve this session, but even more proud of how we achieve it. I look forward to walking with you, and I look forward to the journey. Thank you, and God bless all of you. I'll leave that there.
More State of the State addresses in a moment. Ahead, Michigan's Governor John Engler